Now at 6, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 6. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. New tonight, inner city tenants are fighting back against who they call a heartless out-of-state landlord.
They claim the landlord who purchased the property has served them with an unlawful eviction. Fox 61's Matt Caron has that story from Bridgeport.
Well, these multifamily buildings here on Howe Street were just bought by a New York landlord. Tenants here held a rally to protest their sudden eviction and a call on city and state leaders to stand with them.
They think that we don't know our rights.
Leslie Caraballo has lived here on Howe Street in Bridgeport with her young daughter for the last 5 years. Slapped suddenly with this eviction notice, giving her 7 days to get out.
I don't know what my plan is because right now it's like, who's going to rent out to me?
Leslie is just one of more than 30 families facing imminent eviction after a New York landlord operating as Yoso Properties bought several buildings in a transaction totaling over $6.5 million.
Landlords who are moving into the city of Bridgeport, buying up loads of property and giving people a week, 2 weeks to find somewhere else to go.
State Senator Heron Gaston joined the rally to support the tenants and call out property predators for contributing to a state affordable housing crisis. He and other advocates like Make the Road Connecticut support legislative action, including a rent cap and a bill that would require just cause evictions.
This is our community. They're tearing us all apart, breaking our buildings down to make better luxury buildings, just to make them richer.
Bridgeport City Council President Heidi Nieves told Fox 61 she's been in close contact with the new landlord to broker a deal on behalf of tenants.
Low-income and affordable housing is really scarce here in the city of Bridgeport, and how hard it is for our families to relocate.
Nieves says the landlord is evicting the tenants in order to renovate the apartments, and they verbally agreed to pay for relocation.
Then I want them to put that in writing. And he did say that they're willing to allow them to live for 1 to 3 months without paying rent to assist with their relocation.
Tenants tell us most of the people who live here are either elderly, disabled, or have kids. And officials say this is a situation that we are seeing across the state. They say there not only needs to be more quality, affordable housing, but also more safeguards in place to keep tenants from being exploited. Reporting in Bridgeport, Matt Caron, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Matt, thank you. A person is in critical condition tonight after being hit by a car in Waterbury. It happened yesterday morning at the intersection of Cook Street and Hawley Avenue. Police say the man who was hit was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. The driver was not injured and remained on scene. Anyone with information about what happened should call Waterbury Police.
Turning to the weather now, an absolutely beautiful start to the week.
Oh, yeah,
temperatures are getting up into the 70s. We're taking a live look right here at Hartford. Look at that. Not a cloud in the sky from this shot.
Nice crystal blue. That's great. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joining us now with what we can expect for the rest of the week.
Today was one of those days, right? Not too hot, not too cold, just right. And I think tomorrow will be very similar. We will shave a few degrees off the high temperature, but pretty much almost a redo. We will see more clouds by the middle of the week and eventually some showers. But here's the good news. It is not even close to as wet as it was last week or the week before. We have no, super soaking rain and wind event, which is a win, even if there will be some showers later this week. Near 70 still at this hour in Hartford and 78 in New Haven. We did get a couple of degrees shy of the daily record high temperature in Bridgeport, although we fell about 11 degrees short in Windsor Lock. Still, it is plenty warm out there, especially in the New Haven area. 72 right now in Meriden. We've got the wind coming out of the north with gusts up to 20 miles an hour and some storms to the south that will stay to the south and are not our issue. By the news at 11, temperatures are in the mid-50s and we'll start the day off tomorrow with temperatures beginning in the 40s. But just like today, where we couldn't find a cloud in the sky, we're going to do it again tomorrow. Highs between 65 to 70. Not as warm as today, but still well above average. We'll take a closer look at those shower chances for later this week coming up.
Sounds good, Rachel. Thank you. Well, the state is celebrating its Husky pride after UConn became back-to-back basketball national champions a week ago.
But the faculty union says the school needs more state support to stay winning on campus and in the classroom, much like Connecticut's other campuses, which are also short on funding.
Fox 61 political reporter Emma Wolfhorst is in the studio with us now to explain. Emma.
Brent, Sarah, right now UConn says it's facing a $70 million budget shortfall. Faculty are asking the state legislature for more supplemental funds before the session is up in just under a month. But with lawmakers already deciding not to move forward with formal major budget changes this year, the question is, how can the university get the money it says it needs?
We're also not only proud of our sports accomplishments, but we have a world-class faculty and amazing students at UConn.
We would like to see priorities for the university to also, and the state, to also fund academics. We want to see academics be a world-class leader, just as the basketball program.
After the Huskies' back-to-back NCAA national titles, all eyes are on UConn, and the school's professors are using that spotlight to ask for help.
We're fighting every year, it seems, at the legislature for additional funding, and it seems that it's always not enough, and so we're going back to the legislature to ask for more money.
The university says it needs an additional $96 million from the state, or will be at risk for severe cutbacks.
The cuts that we're looking towards and we're already really experiencing are absolutely devastating. The language that I'm hearing among colleagues is essentially that these cuts will destroy the University of Connecticut.
UConn staff say if they don't get the funding, the school will have to make up the deficit with cuts like eliminating graduate programs, ending research accounts, closing labs, and curtailing hiring.
You're cutting people, you're cutting courses, you're removing the people teaching the courses, and then you have ballooning class sizes. When you have ballooning class sizes, you have a clear decline in education.
With just about 3 weeks left in the legislative session, lawmakers on the Appropriations Committee already decided there would be no major adjustments to the second year of the state's $51 billion budget passed in 2023. While the governor and legislative leadership are set on sticking to the fiscal guardrails, lawmakers have spent hours discussing where additional funding could come from. The state does have around $200 million left in federal American Rescue Plan Act funds, which could be reallocated.
I think the legislature is going to come forward with the funding. I think the funding is going to be there in the end. We've gotten some really good information from some of the leaders that money is going to be there, but until that actually happens, I think we're in a wait-and-see position.
And while students and staff wait for the legislature's May 8th deadline, department heads are being asked to evaluate what could be cut if the money doesn't come from the state. Despite record application numbers and even more expected for UConn coming this fall, tuition hikes aren't off the table. Sarah, Brent.
All right, Emma, thank you. Workers at the Pratt & Whitney plant in Middletown had trouble getting into the building this morning as dozens of protesters blocked the entrance. Fox 61 was there as a group of 50 people from Connecticut, New York, and Massachusetts blocked the road into the factory. Some even chained themselves to a fence. The group is taking a stand against companies that they say have contracts with Israel as the war in Gaza continues in its 7th month.
We're here to say we're pro-worker. We want this factory to be used to manufacture peace. We want it to be used to manufacture high-speed rail, automobile components, civilian airliners. However, the engines that are being used in Gaza are being used to carry out a genocide.
10 protesters were arrested today. We asked a union representative for comment and were told, quote, "The union has nothing to do with this. We're here to build jet engines." We're told the protest here in Middletown is one of many happening across the country today.
Lawmakers are concerned about new data showing death by suicides rising in children in our state. There's new legislation in the works now to save lives. A new report finds 48 children died by suicide in a 6-year span here in Connecticut. The youngest was only 10 years old. U.S. Senator Richard Blumenthal is announcing a new bill that would fund suicide prevention initiatives. It would increase training for healthcare providers, among other resources. Senator Blumenthal says time is of the essence.
Well, today kicks off National Work Zone Safety Awareness Week, and the Department of Transportation is telling drivers that actions behind the wheel can last forever. The DOT reminding drivers to slow down in work zones with a new initiative. The DOT unveiling its new work zone safety mascot this morning, Terry the Turtle, who will travel to events and schools to spread safety messages throughout the year. Between 2020 and 2022, there were more than 2,500 crashes, including 10 fatalities in work zones across the state.
The Connecticut State Police officially has a new colonel. Daniel Lohman has served as interim colonel since November, but was officially sworn in today in Meriden. Colonel Lohman served as a trooper for more than 18 years. He's also a graduate of the 287th session of the FBI National Academy. In a statement, he says he has a deep commitment to public safety and looks forward to representing Connecticut troopers. Former President Donald Trump's historic hush money trials underway. Jury selection has begun, but it could take weeks.
Fox's Connor Hansen has what happened inside the courtroom from New York City.
Former President Donald Trump drew a crowd here in downtown Manhattan as he appeared for day one in his historic hush money trial. Rowdy protesters outside a New York City courthouse as former President Donald Trump's criminal trial kicks off.
He hid information relevant to voters, he lied about it, and then he tried to cover it up.
I think it's important that when something so unfair is happening right here, that people support him.
This is an assault on our country, and it's a country that's failing.
The two sides spent the day arguing over evidence, questioning potential jurors, and debating whether or not Trump violated his gag order. Seating an impartial jury could take some time because the judge is insisting potential jurors will be questioned individually to weed out political bias.
I think particularly in light of the ongoing presidential election, it's going to be really difficult to find jurors who come into this just with an open mind to the facts and the law.
Trump is accused of falsifying business records to cover up paying off two women who alleged they had sexual affairs with him, and a former doorman who tried to sell a story about Trump having a child out of wedlock. Trump denies any wrongdoing.
This is political persecution. This is really an attack on a political opponent.
This could be Trump's only criminal case to go before a jury ahead of the November election. While it is unlikely he could face jail time if he's convicted. In New York, Connor Hansen, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.